Hi, everyone. Welcome to the contributor meeting. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Leo, and let's start by sharing my screen. All right. Okay, so usually starting off with triage and discussion, and for this week we had Jonathan and Ishita. So Jonathan, anything to mention?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah, so for myself, fairly uneventful, pretty standard set of questions asked in the discussions. So answered those with pointing folks to the relevant bugs or relevant documentation topics. And for issues, none of them that stand out as worth bringing up specifically here. Jumped in on a couple and saw some other folks on the team jumped on a bunch as well. So that was great. So yeah, pretty uneventful. Nothing to bring up here for me.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Ishita, anything to add?
No, Leo, nothing as such.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. So let's go, let's go and decide for it's going to be primary and secondary for next week. So following the list here, Dan, we don't have many people in the call today. Any volunteers for primary and secondary?
I'd prefer secondary, but I could do primary if no one else is able to.
Okay, I can be primary and simplify things. Michael, where are you? Not here.
Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. All right. Okay, so first topic of the day, Regina added one of the issues, and I guess it was mainly to see if there was any update. Regina, are you in the call? I don't see her. Doesn't seem so, but yeah, opening the issue is related to Argo CD not being able to connect to external repos while using customize if the external repo is private. So the ticket is opened, and she was well, there was some triage already done, and it's an open ticket. I'm not sure if we should bump this, the priority. It might have some security implications as well, but I'm not 100% sure why she brought up. Maybe it was requested by someone at Red Hat. I'm not sure. Okay, let's move forward. Daniel, you brought up this feature, which I think is a nice one. You want to say a few words about it?
Yeah, definitely. So for those who are unaware, in Kubernetes version 1.24, there's been a switch where basically in previous versions of Kubernetes, when you create a service account, basically a secret of service account token type is created, and that is then populated by Kubernetes with a bearer token, which can then be used for authentication purposes. But in 1.24, this is no longer going to happen automatically. And this was done as a means of encouraging basically frequently rotating this bearer token because these tokens can be long-lived. So obviously this is very convenient from a development standpoint because you can consistently reference the secret and get that bearer token. But obviously we don't want to encourage having these tokens be things that are not regularly rotated. So basically an issue came in, I believe it was last week, where someone was trying to add a 1.24 cluster. And the gist of it is that there's basically a timeout that's happening because the cluster authentication package that Argo CD has basically is looking for this service account secret with the bearer token, and it's just basically no longer there. So the workaround for this is basically that people can manually add this this service account token secret type themselves, and it will resolve the issue. So there is a bit of a way for people to get past this, but there is ultimately the question of how we want to kind of address this and make this out of the box for Argo CD. So there's been two approaches that I've been looking into so far. The first one would be that Argo CD itself could actually create these service account token secret types, and then Argo CD would just manage this secret as another resource as part of adding clusters. And this would probably be the way that would preserve the code base as it is, right? Because a lot of it is built around having this this secret be available. So this would require probably the most minimal amount of code changes. But Kubernetes is basically recommending that folks sort of move towards this token request API approach, which is just basically a way of directly requesting a token for the service account through this token request API. So I wanted to just kind of bring this up and make sure that one, folks aren't already just make sure that no one is already looking into this issue already, and just kind of gather some thoughts around whether or not the goal in the short term should be towards to kind of move towards this token request API, and maybe even look into supporting both approaches, or whether or not we want to go with an approach of, kind of preserving the existing workflows and creating this service account secret.
Okay, I see that in the doc you created a research document. Is this document linked in the issue somewhere?
No, I can definitely throw it in afterwards, though. It has edit access. Please feel free to open it, leave comments, and throw in additional thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, I also looked into it. I have one question. Do you think this token request API would get implemented in client Go in future version, and we might benefit that we just need to upgrade the version of it that we use in Argo CD?
It's actually already available. So the token request API, I think, is actually a feature that was added a very long time ago in Kubernetes. It's just not very commonly used, obviously, because of the creation of these secrets automatically. But it should be ready to go just based on the current version.
Of client Go of Kubernetes?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So if I'm understanding well, Daniel, the discussion is between, I guess we need to decide which direction to go. If we keep the current approach, or if we go with Kubernetes' suggestion of using a short-lived tokens for cluster communication.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Okay.
Is there any rough estimation of how detailed it would be to do the token API? Is it super involved, or is it doable in a release?
It looks
Rough
pretty.
timeline.
It looks pretty straightforward, to be honest. I
Okay.
mean, as far as so the token request object is, it's essentially just it has a configurable expiration time on it, and you can detail other things like binding it to a particular object and specifying particular audiences that the token is relevant to. But I think for our purposes, it would really only require us to specify the expiration time. And then it's at this point, I think it would only really affect the get cluster token function that's part of cluster auth, and then also the function that's responsible for rotating that auth.
Right. So it's not like littered throughout a whole bunch of different spots within Argo CD. There's just a couple of places where we would need to switch to the token API, right? Just
Yeah,
doing
I
this
think
steering.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's mainly also why I brought it up here. I wanted to make sure I'm not overlooking any other places. But yeah, it seems pretty not
I
heavily
think-
used throughout the code base.
Cool. I think that makes sense to go that route then.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Daniel.
So
Yes, go
I
ahead.
guess for Argo CD 2.4, I guess the people are going to have to use their workaround.
Yeah, that's a good point. I see that in the ticket. I guess that's what you were referring to as a manual process, Daniel. I see this user provided the step-by-step of how to manually configure it. So it seems Kubernetes still allows us to define an annotation in the secret, and then the token gets automatically created, and then we have to manually link that secret in the service account from what I read here. So
Yes, the token controller will still populate these secrets as was done before. But yeah, there's just a manual step now.
it's manual.
And that's not anything with Argo CD 2.4. It's literally just required for Kubernetes 1.24.
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's required if you want Argo CD to manage that 1.24 cluster, right?
Yes. Yep.
I think I missed a little bit at the beginning. Exactly how bad is the experience for 1.24 users? Does like the token expire and then just Argo CD quits working?
Well, the token doesn't get created, right? And so Argo CD, from what I understand, Argo CD fails to add the cluster.
It never starts working from. Okay, cool. I'm with you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems worth fixing, quickly.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad user experience if you're going to go through steps to create the secret and the token, right?
I agree. So let's maybe discuss this offline and decide who's picking it up, and maybe go for the fastest fix and make sure we cherry pick this for the coming release. And probably it's a good idea to also update the documentation for previous Argo CD versions using newer Kubernetes version, and how to proceed with the manual step, unless we want to patch release previous Argo CD versions as well. Okay.
I mean, the
so
fast
let's
step is just putting in the manifest, right? It's just a manifest change.
say that again.
It's just a manifest change if you want to do like the hacky workaround, right?
I thought there were several steps they had to do. It wasn't.
No, yeah, it's not that simple, it seems.
Yeah, because it's a remote cluster, right? So it.
Oh, sure. When creating, that makes sense. That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
yeah, this is just for the adding and the creation of
that's fair.
RBAC on external stuff. Mhm.
That's fair.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel, for putting this together. And let's move on. We have two two issues here. I think it was added by Javi. Javi, you wanna
Sure. So
take it from here? Yeah.
the first issue this is a PR. This is something that we discussed a couple of weeks back. This is to fix the code generator issues. And Alex last time had approved this approach where we can move the logic of updating the or setting the group version can into a separate method, and we can call that in the update calls. So made the fixes. I need some help reviewing this one.
Okay.
Okay. So this is one.
Right.
The second one. Yeah. So basically, the second one is it okay if I can share the screen for the second one?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Let me stop sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Did I open the right one? It seems closed.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Okay.
So I basically wanted to get feedback on this. So this one is we wanted to get a metric emitted when there is a rollout aborted for the version 2 because of analysis failure. And
Sorry,
we are
Javi,
reverting
I
it
think
back
you're
to-
sharing the wrong screen.
Okay. Can you see it now?
1 second.
Add metric for rollout abort. Is this what you're seeing?
I'm seeing it correct.
Yeah, I was seeing it correct.
Okay, sorry, it's on you then.
All right. So basically, this is a PR that earlier I worked on. Here, me and Hari, we were discussing it would be good to have a metric to be emitted when rollout analysis fails, and then it reverts back to the stable version, right? So in order to do that, what I've done is I've updated the code in the sync.go here, where there is this is aborted section that gets evaluated. So in this section of code, in the calculate rollout conditions, here we evaluate the conditions of rollout, why it is aborted, and we update the message here. This is what get reflected back in the status object. So if I go back to the status object here, so the status message that we put here is coming from this is aborted block of this function, right? Now, and this is a piece of code that gets executed and validates for various conditions. And in this one, we are adding a metric. Like we are creating a metric with rollout aborted with analysis failure. And then as part of this event, the metric gets emitted when this event gets run. So we've created this new status condition, and as we pass this condition, this gets updated in the event field, and so it gets updated in the event field like this, and a metric with this is sent. I hear that from Hari that Jesse wanted to evaluate this one by looking at the conditions in the status object, but the status object messages that we are emitting is essentially coming from this code block where we had this message that we are updating with. So I feel this code area seems to be right, but I just want to get any additional inputs on this, or do you think we need to do it from any other approach?
Can you repeat your suggestion? I think I missed that part.
Yeah, sure. So basically what we want is we want to emit a metric when the rollout fails with an analysis,
Right.
it aborts it and reverts back to the stable version, right? So this is a new metric that we are now emitting, okay?
Mhm.
And this metric is emitted from the rollout condition, calculate rollout conditions function. And there is a isAbort block. In this block, we are evaluating and updating the status object with the corresponding messages, okay, on why this is aborted and stuff like that. Now, at that point, when this is aborted with analysis failure, we are checking for that condition of if it failed because of the analysis failure. We are generating an event for it. As part of this event, a metric is also emitted, right? So that's what this PR essentially does, and that is what is raised initially. There is a suggestion from Jesse that we should probably do it by checking the rollout status instead of directly updating in the calculate rollout conditions block. But my point here is rollout status is updated from this block itself. So doing it here is sufficient. We don't have to go back and verify the status object again. There the reconciliation happens multiple times, and the metric may not be accurate as well. So I'm thinking this approach seems to be right for me. I just want someone else to review this and let me know.
So currently there is no metric being emitted here, right?
Exactly.
So
Yes.
we have
Currently,
this
the
status
metrics are
update as
emitted.
well. Sorry?
Yeah. Currently, the metric is emitted only if it's a rollout aborted reason. This is a generic reason. We don't know if it was because of analysis failure or not.
Okay, so basically
We
the
wanted
metric
to
is
particularly
already
know.
the metric is
Yeah,
already
correct.
the metric already exists. It's a Prometheus metric that is already existing. We just want to update the metric count based on this
No, so
specific
yeah,
event.
let me.
Is that it?
No, so the metric here we have is for rollout aborted reason. This could be a generic condition. We don't have a metric with for analysis failure. Now we are introducing a new metric for analysis failure, and we are updating that.
Does the event recorder automatically set up a Prometheus metric based on events? That's how it's configured. That's how the code works.
Yeah. So whenever we
Okay.
generate a recorder event, a metric for that particular condition is generated.
Is generated. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's already in the recorder, I'm not aware of the recorded implementation, but if it's already part of the recorder, I would be okay with having this additional metric as part of it as well.
I think that makes sense. If that's how it works today. It seems a little bit weird to tie events to Prometheus metrics, but I think that's fine.
I agree.
If that's how it is today. So.
Yeah. I just want to bring this up. Maybe you can review it offline also and let me know your feedback on this, and we can reopen the PR if you think this is good.
Oh, this is a PR with already that has your implementation already. Is that right, Javi?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Cool.
I just need to add unit test. If this approach looks good, I'll add the unit test and update it.
Okay. Okay. We'll take a look.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if there are new topics. It doesn't seem so. If anybody has any...
Yeah,
Yes?
sorry. I had a topic at the beginning. Sorry, I joined a little bit late. So the first issue right there, 6440, someone had opened up a ticket in our OpenShift Bugzilla, and it was about deploying customization that retrieves a base from another repo is throwing a 509 error. And it linked to this issue, and it is a proposal. So I just wanted to know if there was any work being done on this, or like any blockers, or if it's planned for any release. Yeah.
Yeah, I quickly looked at the ticket this morning and I didn't see any action on it, but I feel like this is related to, it has some security implications.
Yeah.
So I'll let, maybe it's good to touch base with the, with the security group. There's a security channel and double check on whether or not we want to go ahead with this approach, because the credentials, the Git credentials is provided by the repo that is configured for that application. But if we customize the points to another private Git repo, that credential is not forwarded to that request. And that's when users get this error. So I think we would require some discussion and some security review on this.
Okay. I think Jan is also part of that security group, so I'll reach out to him and talk with him about that and see if it can be discussed in that meeting.
Regina, do y'all have someone who can push the implementation after that security conversation? Because I don't know of anyone who can push it right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay,
I'll
cool. We can
see if Jan has any idea.
Sweet. Yeah, we can definitely do the review, but then someone's actually got to write it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, so any last minute topic someone wants to bring up to this meeting? We still have a few minutes. Okay, if not, I'll give you back those minutes and see you next week. All right.